Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Saluk. I go by Jeff, and today I will be presenting my stance on wearable technology and whether or not it will expand athletic surveillance beyond ethical limits by the year of 2035. Um, all the images that will be discussed and used are real life scenarios, and they are real life athletes. And the background will kind of have viewers understand why I decided to choose my stance and why I'm passionate about this in the sense of someone that works in a space of medicine and is constantly trying to understand their athlete's health. So, without further ado, let's begin. Right off the bat, I agree. I think in 2035, athletic surveillance will expand beyond ethical limits. And we will take a deeper dive into why I stand on that belief in that statement and that notion. But before diving into why I believe it is to be true, I want to kind of dive into what a wearable technology is. For those that are not familiar with wearable technology, I currently have one on right now. I also own an Apple Watch, and I am constantly tracking and understanding my biometrics. So wearable technology, it has a different components based on the tier and based on the product in itself, but it is to understand the internal stressors within the body. As athletes, as humans, as individuals, we're gonna have heart rates, we're gonna have EKGs, we're gonna have different stressors such as readiness, strain, recovery, metabolism, sleep. Everything could be measured, and products like Whoop, Apple Watch, Catapult, like this individual that's wearing Catapult running across the field, is to help monitor their performance and understand how they are physically presenting and how they are going to recover and how well they'll perform. So, wearable technology doesn't have to be a device. I do want to clarify that research do show, and we can dive in a little bit about Nike. Wearable technology can just be something that is meant or designed to enhance athletic performance or enhance the individual's readiness or really impact something that's happening throughout performance. So it could be, compressive shorts. It could be a breathable material for athletes down south that need a little bit more leeway when it comes to the heat illnesses and what they're exposed to. So wearable technology, it can stem from an actual device all the way down to material and product. So I just want to clarify that. And if you didn't know what that was, that's what a wearable technology is. Excuse me. Athletic surveillance. I want to kind of use this word interchangeably. So, conducting the search, surveillance isn't really the utilization of the word, it's more monitoring. So, monitoring is just a systematic approach of understanding their training, the recovery, and the overall impact on the body. So, being able to understand your athlete, and Bronny James is such a great example because he suffered a cardiac arrest. And when he did, doctors and physician didn't understand why. He presents very, very athletic. He is someone that's been playing basketball since the age of whenever he can crawl, being the son of LeBron James. But he still suffered this at such a young age. So, through the data collection and using GPS and tracking systems and sensors within the Whoop, once again, he was able to track his habits, understand what his recovery was like, understand how his body responded to internal and external stressors. And from there, they were able to, coaches and doctors were able to make data-driven decisions on whether or not he is ready to play or if he needed extensive work. So, athletic surveillance is just taking an extra measure with technology to make sure that we are making guided decisions for our athletes. Excuse me. This new approach has revolutionized the sport industry. As you can see, this is a amazing moment for Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics. And it's unfortunate that now he had suffered an Achilles tear, but this really helps tailor what training should be like. And the mission behind it is to better the athlete, whether it's implementing better programming, better injury prevention programs, something more systematic. And it had, Jason Tatum probably been on some type of, wearable technology, we would have probably saw that he was not ready to continue to play. I know research has showed that he is someone that suffered, or and a little bit of background on me knowing how Achilles ruptures happen. It's all due to load management and stress. So him performing in the Olympics, him going back and playing All Stars, and then doing training on the side, and then obviously going all the way to the final and then trying to replicate that same behavior and regime was just too much for him. So, this is basically just, the overall arching thought about wearable technology is to really understand and detect potential injuries that could happen, especially in the professional industry. So, this picture, obviously, I support the Celtics, and my background in injury prevention is dear to me. So, I do truly do believe if he had had some type of monitoring, they probably could have detected this early on. So the trajectory, right? AI is being involved. The understanding of this new ecosystem where the technology is being computed here with the individual real lifetime and being implemented somewhere else for us to interpret that data or for AI to interpret that data for us. As a prime user, I'm able to understand, what do I need to do to prevent X, Y, and Z from occurring. So prevention, treatment, and recovery are the three main components of where AI is about to land, and it's definitely helping with the safety and the health of athletes. This now has a trickle effect all the way down to the organization from, general manager, decision making from the coaches, the health staff, coaches, the equipment manager. It is all being integrated and implemented into the profession. So this is an example of, once again, Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is a wide receiver for the New England Patriots, and he suffered an ACL injury. And if not for technology, he would not have returned back at such an accelerated rate. I could dive deeper into the scientific findings, but ACLs typically are 9 months and more. So I think that he was able to tap into an industry that was robust, and medical staff that was very expert on the material, and with the use of catapult, with the use of other wearable technology, he was able to propel himself now to playing, and he's playing tonight or last night, and he's excelling. And knock on wood, he continues to do so. And I'm sure that the New England Patriots have a deeper dive on understanding what he should be doing as far as tracking his recovery, and where he should be going moving forward. Excuse me. So the impact on the community when we look at AI, and look at wearable technologies. If we're constantly making decisions based on a device, coaches are staying up to speed. They're staying with the curve, using evidence-based practice to say, all right, this is an athlete that I have. I need to make sure that this athlete lasts all season. I also need to be creative as a coach and understand what this athlete is presenting me at that given moment. Maybe I need to taper off. Maybe that athlete can be pushed a little bit more. But getting into that space allows coaches to truly excel into a new way of understanding how to train, how to coach, and how to push athletes. I think with athletes having an excess blanket and excess sense of security, they're able to understand, hey, I don't feel well, but now knowing that information, how do I get myself to uh, a place where I can actually compete and be ready and available. So, availability is the best ability. They can jump, they can run, they can climb, they can do all sorts of things, but not being available, that's what's truly detrimental to the sports community. Um, as I conduct this search to try to push through my stance, it was very, very difficult to find athletes sitting out and how fans reacted to that. Deep down, there are different concepts when a fan attends a game and they don't see the star player. Example, LeBron James, he's sitting out because he got an alert from his wearable technology. And, as a fan who's paying 500 to $1,000+ to just see one person play, it can be discouraging. So, fans, they typically are displeased and, they feel a deep connection based on the findings that this doctor had computed with he's a psychological doctor that really studied how fans interact with teams. Even with his study, it was very hard to understand how fans felt about athletes when they're not in competition, but um, there is an understanding that there is a huge identity with the team. So if they identify with a certain player and they do all that they need to do to make sure that they support their player, not seeing that player can be frustrating. So it has its ups and downs, right? We want to see our athletes perform. We want to see our athletes in the sense of longevity, continue to do greatness for our city, our town, our families. But when they're not on their playing surfaces, it can be discouraging as a fan. So current issues, and this is going to back up my stance. Data breaches and privacy. That is the utmost unethical thing that is currently going on. And I pulled a specific case because I didn't know this. And while I was researching it, I found it to be fascinating because once again, I am someone that has Whoop. Whoop is giving authorization to third-party trackers. So as someone that understanding the space of ethics and healthcare, it's unethical. It's a violation of HIPAA not to um, authorize consent to parties that may not know or may not need to know that sense of information. And this is just for me, a regular degular person. Obviously, athletes, they could probably feel a little bit violated as well because their body is their temple and it is actually their means of financial contribution and identity and so much more. I will never silence an athlete, but they have every right to be upset and they have every right to understand that their information is being sold. It is being sold to companies. There's violation of privacy. They might have very confidential information that they don't want the public to know about their health, and that is being leaked. And data security is constantly happening every day. And it's ironic, like this week, we had a Verizon data breach, and so it's it's kind of discouraging when when people are trying to do their best to make sure their health is in line and they're doing everything they can do to be their best version, and there is leaks and breaches of their privacy. So another quick little study is the cybersecurity industry that's currently being infiltrated. And like I mentioned, a couple things that people are looking for and what they encourage you to do is find strong encryptions, secure networks, and industries that have better standards. So, um, making sure you're not on different Wi-Fi's, making sure that, your phone is up to speed, making sure that you toggle different notifications, you toggle different allow allow location sharing. These are the things that matter. And when you violate those things, people lose faith in the product. So not all products are the same, but knowing that Whoop is one of those that violated privacy, it is concerning. So once again, as ethical concerns, this is a group that works with women's rugby, and with them working women's rugby, they had to understand like who was ready to play and their lifestyle, just because of the nature and the demands of a woman's body. So, they violated their rights and they wanted to understand how is the data being used? Where is the data going? And when do we say enough is enough? So, this group is constantly pushing forward the ethical and legal safeguards to make sure that their athletes aren't exposed to certain individuals or certain governments or governance or different groups. Because at the end of the day, they believe the information that should be pertinent is the information that should be pertinent. Everything else is a little bit invasive. So it's exploitation. It is removal of autonomy. It violates a lot of things. So their current research is to just make sure that education is being taught and that they're going around only disclosing information that they need to disclose. Not every information is relevant to recovery, and we have to treat that as so. So this is a group that's currently working on this in Australia. So they're doing tremendous work. There was another study that kind of supports what I feel as if has failed us as a society, and I really hope that this one in particular is just the forefront of what happens. So, study just disclosed that healthcare providers and healthcare providers understood that there's barrier changes and there's behavior changes and barriers to use, that they feel as if patients have a better sense of self and advocacy when they are able to understand what's going on with their health. You start seeing that their goals change, they feel more motivated, they are more adherent to counsel, but in the same regard, there is leak of information that constantly happens at a hospital, constantly happens at a doctor's office. And that's a delicate balance where you're going to the right source of people to get the information in the treatment that you need. However, there is a massive leak within privacy. So, this specific study, I want to get in a little bit into it, is Google. And Google actually sold information from Fitbit to track and trace COVID, and that's not what it was intent for, but they were able to like sell that information. And Google is a very, very powerful tool. Um, I think everyone knows what Google is. And if you don't have a smartphone, you don't have a means of internet, I think people still can use Google in a sentence and still understand what the search engine is intended to do. So it's quite disappointing that, you go and get extra work and you go to a medical professional and your information is being leaked. So in conclusion, I think that AI, VR, augmented reality, um, all is to push the envelope with healthcare. It's to make you better. The more we know, the better we are as individuals. The better we are as individuals, the better we are at making decisions on what can help us. Primarily in the sports industry, it's going to propel us to championships. It's going to propel us to victory. So when you completely lead your monitoring with, non-autonomy, not transparency with um, with the privacy, non-transparency with what consent might be or data ownership, it really is disheartening. And so, this to me, and with the evidence that I provided, is it basically breaches privacy and its exploitation of biometric data. So we have to do better of safeguarding our athletes, safeguarding like people as people. They're just not just because they're athlete doesn't mean that they don't have rights to um, keep that information very private. It's an ethical thing when we see that their information is being leaked and it could be leaked to the wrong individual. It's not the term of surveillance that we want. We want to monitor what is going on, not surveillance everything that's going on. And I hope that makes sense. And to kind of get past this. We just need better vetting in devices, better understanding of what we're signing up for. Um, Different engines and different organizations need to stop selling our information to third parties. It's just not um, it's unethical. So that is my stance. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that um, you've learned a little bit about how I feel and what is currently happening with wearable technology. These are my list of references. Thank you.